What was the big rumor in your high school? Did turn out to be true? That an English teacher was using heroin. It's pretty sad actually. He was just a regular guy who destroyed his knee. So after surgery he got painkillers, got hooked on them, and then eventually started using heroin. Nobody really believed it until he abruptly went on leave. He was gone for most of the school year, and when he eventually got sober and came back, he told his story to the students to try to show them how dangerous that stuff is, and confirmed everything to be true. There was an 18-year-old freshman who was pregnant, and there was a joke spread that this was her fourth kid. They said she was first pregnant at 12 years old and that was why she never finished ninth grade. I actually made friends with her because we both walked the mile in P. And I felt bad that people were spreading this rumor and making fun of someone who obviously is trying to better themselves for their baby. Well, turns out, it was actually her fifth kid. She had one set of twins at the age of 13. Then at 14 she was trying to be a mother of two and finish ninth grade, but she got pregnant again and dropped out. I realize now that the entire situation was very concerning. I hope she got some guidance. On a ski trip the phys ed teacher allegedly porked the science teacher. Someone saw him go into her room in the middle of the night. They denied it, but years later they got married. That a teacher was sleeping with students. Turned out to be the AP US history teacher. He was caught and later fired. That one of the gym teachers, very large lady, broke the diving board every year. I didn't have her class, but from what I understood it was true, except it only happened once. Edit. Holy crap, that's a lot of upvotes. Rip to that diving board. TBF, someone said the boards are really hard to break. She might not have snapped the board but probably broke the supports or something along those lines, and we all know how kids are. I do remember the diving board being under repair a few times lol. This was in the late 90s. That the English teacher had been sleeping with students. I found out when I was a freshman in 2008. Fast forward 8 years later, the chemistry teacher got caught and decided to bring the English teacher down with him to get some heat off his back. A total of 3 teachers went to jail. The big rumor wasn't about my high school but a school on the east side of town. The rumor was, a bunch of girls were running a prostitution ring out of the school. It turns out it was true. PD went undercover and busted about a dozen girls. There were rumors for years about some of the younger male teachers and female students. Some of the teachers ended up leaving, never to be spoken of again. Others stuck around, but nothing was ever substantiated. Then while my class was on our senior trip, the music teacher got arrested. Then 2 more teachers the following year. Then several years went by and the school abruptly announced it was shutting down for financial reasons, 2 weeks before the end of the school year. The week after it closed for good, another teacher got arrested. So yeah, I'd say the rumors turned out to be true. That our science teacher was kind of a creep. I always thought he was nice. Years later he was fired and arrested for aggravated child porn. Dr. Palermo, the band teacher, never received his doctorate in music like he claimed. It was weird, he used to force all his students to address him as Doctor. But when he came back from his leave of absence we all called him by Mr., like nothing happened. The softball coach in his 40s was dating one of his players. It turned out to be a sophomore, so she was 15/16 at the time. He left his wife and kids for her, but she soon realized he was a creep and ended things. His punishment was a 1-year suspension from coaching, but kept his teaching job somehow. That the school was sending teen girls who got pregnant to the alternative school because they were afraid of an outbreak of teen pregnancies. Cliché as fuck for the 90s, but it was true. One of my friends got pregnant at 14 and they sent her off to the alt school. They told her it was the only way they could accommodate her special needs and expected absences, otherwise she'd eventually flunk out. That the 60-year-old art teacher was giving private nude drawing art lessons to a few select students. Basically she was posing nude for drawing classes and making sweet love to her favorite introverted art students every year. This went on for a decade that I know of. When she was 63 she married a 21-year-old former student. It was a few years after I graduated, but a student baked cookies for their entire history class and handed them out one day. Several days later, the student informed everyone that she had actually baked her recent grandfather's ashes into the cookies, and so everyone had eaten some of her dead grandpa. A lot of folks just thought it was a bizarre stunt until some of the cookies that hadn't been eaten were sent to the local PD for testing, and sure enough, contained human remains. I was in college and was seeing headlines about the school because it was briefly international news I think, and had to text some of my friends that still had younger siblings at the school so I could find out what happened. Biology teacher was having an affair with the principal. That one of the English teachers used to physically assault kids. No one believed it because he was elderly and very kind. One day he told our class that back in the 80s when he was teaching, any time a kid got mouthy or started a fight in his classroom, he would pick them up physically and throw them out of his class. He gave a kid a concussion once because he bounced his head off a locker. They sent him to anger management classes, but he stayed teaching at the school until his retirement. Gym teacher banging a student. She was. That I was hacking into the computer systems. Because of this, my only failing grade my senior year was ironically the computer courses. To be clear, I was failed. I did not fail. I got perfect scores on everything in that class. I was a student tech at my school, so I had admin access to everything. This is why she thought I was hacking. The teacher simply marked my grades as zeros for that class. I got a 0 in that class. So the day after school technically ended, I logged into the system under admin login, and changed my grades back to what they were. I had all of the papers still showing I got perfect scores in case there was a fight. There never was. My sister's form teacher got a student pregnant. I mean, he did end up leaving, but there's still multiple rumors of him being in prison. The biggest rumor in my high school was that one of the science teachers, baseball coach, was banging the health teacher, volleyball coach. He was at every volleyball game, she came to most of the baseball games. People would say they saw his truck at her apartment complex. Somebody said they saw them together at a concert 200 miles from home. Both of them constantly got asked if they were messing around on their boyfriend, girlfriend with each other, and both denied it for the entire year. Yeah, turned out they'd been dating for 3 years like adults can do, and just kept it a secret from students because high school students suck. They got married the summer after I graduated.